Today, we are exploring how to evolve beyond the culture wars that are undermining our societies and impairing progress. How we can inspire healthier ways of being that serve the common good, empower individuals, and celebrate diversity of perspective, understanding that these are not mutually exclusive. Right now, we are in a time of enormous turbulence and political instability. Political polarization is becoming so extreme that social scientists are describing it as sectarian division, psychologically akin to fanatical religious division. One-eyed factions are co-opting and manipulating social and environmental agendas to polarize issues that really affect everyone. There is blatant dehumanization, judgment, and demonization of people perceived to have opposing views. We've allowed what was deemed unacceptable in the schoolyard to overtake our societies. And those who try and appeal to reason also suffer exclusion when they challenge the factionalism which derives power from dividing people. Just existing in this unhealthy reality is affecting so many people emotionally and physically. And that is why growing numbers of people are seeking something more meaningful that reaches beyond the limitations of this paradigm and beginning to co-create a new paradigm with higher consciousness. This may be less visible, especially to those who are only listening to the polarizing media-driven narratives designed to maintain fear, anger, hatred. But there are many global movements ranging from academic alliances, grassroots networks to non-sectarian spiritual movements and an Indigenous-led resurgence, all seeking to contribute to a great awakening. This is also why planetary health is considered as much a social movement as it is a transdisciplinary field, and why the solutions focus of the planetary health agenda gives more emphasis to co-creating paradigms for a deep structural change and great transition rather than merely fighting within the existing paradigms. Many of these movements seek to evolve beyond binary thinking that defines people or issues as on one side or another. In essence, to move beyond a material Newtonian view of the world of mechanical separation to a quantum worldview that allows for the infinite possibilities of consciousness, aliveness, love, and embodied meaning. It recognizes inherent interconnectedness, celebrates the illusion of separation that creates diversity of perspective with a deeper sense of unity of awareness. This may seem idealistic, but these realities coexist and manifest according to our awareness of them. For the last century, we've been on the threshold of quantum discovery. Quantum physics has challenged conventional ideas and revealed that our physical reality is not what it seems. Quantum computing will provide an exponential shift in power and capacity to solve challenges. Our social reality may also not be what it seems, and social geographers are exploring how to achieve rapid quantum social change by unleashing human potential. So how can we leverage systems change? How do we create conditions for emergence, which is how life creates radical change and takes things to scale? Donella Meadows' work suggests that the highest leverage points lie not in the political and the applied spheres, but in the underlying goals, mindsets, and paradigms from which systems arise, which lies in the personal sphere, the power to adapt, self-awareness, and the capacity to transcend rigid beliefs. Yet, as in nature, social emergence depends on connections, networks of relationships between people who discover they share a common cause and vision. The work of Margaret Wheatley and Deborah Fries suggests that changemakers can be more effective by developing critical connections between people with shared purpose than by striving to convince the masses. This coherence is more likely to give rise to communities of practice for deeper, supportive relationships, intentional co-creation, and shared actions. This creates the conditions for systemic influence. Good ideas spread rapidly, and new paradigms and practices can quite suddenly become the norm. We see sudden and surprising emergence of new systems at scale, bringing new capacities that did not exist before. This is an era of networks, alliances, and coalitions for change like never before. We're amplifying the participatory power of individuals, creating the perfect conditions for a quantum social change. As individuals, we are wiser to focus on our critical connections rather than the critical mass, because that will follow through the power of networks and communities. This is good for our personal well-being and empowers us rather than overwhelms us. Philosophers will likely remind us that how we see the world is a reflection of our own state of consciousness, that change radiates from there to influence others and our shared reality. Wisdom traditions will remind us that this is all inherently interconnected. So this means nurturing conditions that simultaneously empower individuals and community through shared values. It's easy to think these communities of change exist in a bubble, but this is no less real than the fear bubbles we're manipulated to inhabit. The difference is kindness, love, compassion, and mutualistic intention, seeking inclusion and common ground with those who are different, which is ultimately more evolved and more sustainable. This reality will get stronger the more people who inhabit it and amplify it. It's been said that to see with greater depth, we need to look with both eyes and not take sides. And now many are seeking to move into an era of unitive thinking in which there are no sides, only infinite facets of the whole. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Carter Phipps, author and thought leader working at the intersections of business, politics, science, technology, and consciousness. He is co-founder and managing director of the Institute for Cultural Evolution, and we were inspired by his work on depolarizing the American mind. He will speak for about 10 minutes, followed by our remaining panelists, who will each speak for 5 to 7 minutes. And I don't want to detract from their time by reading their bios, so I urge you to read more about them at the link in the chat. So now over to you, Carter. Thank you.